Good evening and welcome to the Jaymie Icke Show. Coming up on tonight's show, we are going to tackle two issues which are very high on the list of topics that we should be talking about at the moment. In fact, they're both connected to the very same agenda. That's the agenda of fear, control and obedience. Save Our Rights founder Louise Creffield joins me later on to talk about the push for digital ID, what that really means and how the government have made this policy, it seems, deliberately vague and confusing. She's here to tell us more. Last week, Lewis Brackpool and I were at the Oxford protest, where around 2,000 people attended to show the opposition for the council's introduction of 15-minute cities. We recorded a film to showcase the protest and get the voices of those opposing it heard. I'll be sharing that film with you later on in the programme as well. And then Lewis will sit down with me in studio to dive a bit deeper into that topic. Now, the reason that these two stories are so important and the reason they're connected is because they're both part of the same agenda. And that's the agenda to push us towards a more dystopian future, which is not one that I want any part of, and I'm sure you feel exactly the same way. The state's control over our lives has grown at an alarming rate in recent years. The COVID pandemic gave them a free rein to basically do whatever they wanted. And in many cases, and in many parts of the world, they did exactly that and imposed draconian, inhumane measures on the people. See New Zealand, Australia and Canada, to name just a few of the worst ones. As of right now, sat here, I still can't travel to America because I'm unvaccinated. I mean, how do we let this happen? How do we let these psychopaths have such a control over our lives? Now, I don't want to dwell on the past and dwell on what's happened, but I want to remind you so we don't make the same mistakes again and allow these people to have such privileges once more. The push for a more digital world where every single thing you do is monitored, recorded, or tracked is something that should be a line in the sand for us all. We'd literally be handing over the keys of our freedom to those who, when we look at history, never respected our rights and freedoms in the first place. They fought for years to take them away, to reduce them at every opportunity. And now we're at the point where many, it seems, particularly many young people, will happily give up those freedoms if it means that the door will open automatically, or they can pay for their shopping without getting their wallet out. Honestly, I despair of people sometimes. But these are the people that we need to fight for, because we've seen through it. We know what's coming. They might be ignorant to it, but we're not, and we need to fight for them as much as we fight for ourselves. If we allow digital ID and the microchip agenda to become, the norm and come to fruition, then it's quite simply the end of humanity as we know it. The human side of us will become smaller and smaller to the point where we basically become robots, cyborgs, under the control of whoever controls that. It sounds like a Star Trek episode, but it's a lot closer to reality than you think. And if you're naive enough to think that I'm talking madness, then I can tell you this, the next few years are going to be quite spicy for you. Ignorance won't protect you anymore. It never did, really, but it certainly won't now. In the same way that people learned through COVID that compliance doesn't get you out of tyranny and never will, ignorance doesn't stop something from happening just because you don't want to believe it is. We need to be adults here. We need to grow up, accept the problem, and deal with it head on. There's billions of us. Literally billions of us and a handful of them. When we truly unite, stand together and oppose, this whole system, this whole conspiracy, this whole agenda is over in 10 minutes, if not less. And tonight, I want to highlight the reasons why this is so dangerous and why we must fight with everything that we have to resist and prevent this from happening.
So Oxfordshire County Council has issued a statement after an article went viral claiming that the authority would implement a quote-unquote climate lockdown in 2024. Now, the piece continued to say that people living in the county would be, quote unquote, confined to their local neighbourhoods under the trial and would need permission from the council to leave. And now the council has responded to the claims made in the piece. So I thought that they were going to debunk it. I thought they were just going to say, well, it's a flat out lie, it's conspiracy theory, whatever. Contrary to that, a spokesperson for the council actually told the Oxfordshire Live that the information was taken from a recent council decision to greenlight traffic filters in the city. The filters would actually ban private vehicles from 6 areas of the city at certain times and are set to be introduced following the completion of a rail bridge works on Botley Road. So it is happening.
Yeah, just admitting it.
Yeah, basically admitting it. Contrary to the article's claims, there'll be no physical barriers, with the restricted zones actually monitored by automatic number plate recognition cameras, ANPR. So there won't be physical barriers, it will just be the cameras actually finding people that are going into other zones around the city.
So if you were new to the area, you might not even know that you're going into the wrong area, so you might end up fined and it's not even your fault.
Well, Google Maps won't tell you.
No, it won't, you're right.
So people are just going to be accumulating fines over a course of period of time. And even, like you said, newcomers into the city, they won't know what's going on. So really, physical barriers would actually be easier to show people, even though it's mental anyway.
The reason that the movement here actually really gained some traction is because it was relentless. Every month, twice a month, every city across the country, there was protest, there was pushback. There wasn't, we all saw the 1 million or 2 million people, however long it was in Berlin, but that was the one. There was one protest. Here it was thousands of people week after week after week after week that really pushed back. And I think that's why we certainly never went as far as countries like, New Zealand, America, Australia, in terms of draconian measures because of that resistance. So hopefully we can repeat history and do it again.
Absolutely. Persistence is key. I come from history and politics, and I'd never seen any other campaign group be as persistent and consistent as we were. But what they do, the government take silence as consent. So what I'd really urge is everybody fill in this consultation. They've made it very difficult, but we have created a guide to make it really easy. So everyone can do it in between 5 to 10 minutes, but it's actually really vital that we do, because this is the starting step. So this is where we have to start pushing back. We don't get to wait a month and wait till it's implemented to start pushing back, because that's too late. So I'd really urge everyone to check out the guide and fill in the consultation. We've got until the 1st of March to do so.
I echo that and encourage people to take a look at it.